enough to really break it down and dissect it.
Right.
So could you do it for the people?
Now, when a black person says the word coon, but just like the N-word, there's different meanings to it. When a black person says nigga, that means I'm a victim of white supremacy. When a non-black person says that word, that means, okay, those black people are inferior to me. So when different people use different words, it means something else. When a black person uses the word coon, we're talking about another black person or another non-white person who's working with white supremacy against non-white people, okay? That's what a coon is. I had a Coon Train Award show some years ago. We were giving awards to people like Jesse Lee Peterson.
I love that show.
Yeah, Sheriff Clark, and we got to have another one sometime next year. So we're talking about an action when we say the word coon. Now, when a non-black person says the word coon, like Cholo and others, they're talking about all black people. They don't make no differentiation of it. He tried to clean it up talking about, well, I'm talking about you're a coon because you don't live in the ghetto. That's racist as hell. And that don't make no sense. Not living in the ghetto doesn't make you a coon. That word coon is reserved for all black people. You're denigrating all black people. And dude got called out for it, and anybody who's non-black using that word towards a black person should get called out for that racist nonsense. See, there's a lot of racism coming from non-white society or non-Anglo, because a lot of people are people of color, but they're still classified as white. You understand? Many East Indians, black as you and me, but if you look at their ID, it's Caucasian. They're classified as white. Kamala Harris's mother is classified as Caucasian. If you look at the birth certificate, yeah, look at the birth certificate, it's online. Yeah. You have a lot of Hispanic people, and most Hispanics are classified as white. They classify themselves as white. A lot of times they won't be honest about that, but when you look at the paperwork, they classify themselves as white. Puerto Rico, that's a black island for the most part. About 80% of the people classify themselves as white on Puerto Rico, in the island of Puerto Rico.
Wow.
So you have a lot of people who are people of color, but inside here, they're white. They're just a different shade of white. Mm-hmm. So they use these white supremacist terms to denigrate us, and we're calling them out for it.
Yeah. Now, I do want to kind of address that though, right? Now, now, during your last interview, like you had this statement that went super viral. I seen a lot of like the Hispanic community were like quote tweeting it, and kind of addressing you when you say there's no such thing as brown people. Mm-hmm. What do you mean by that? Because
they don't classify themselves as brown.
Gotcha.
What's a brown person? We're the only people running around talking about black and brown for real, especially in a political sense. Again, when you look at their ID, they classify themselves as white. Let me tell you something. In the 1930s, there was the US government started classifying Mexican people as their own race. They made Mexican its own race. One of the biggest Mexican-American organizations, LULAC, they fought against that. They fought for the right to be labeled as white. They were like, no, 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 do not make us a separate race. We are white and we want to fight to be white. They fought for the right to be white. So don't get offended now. Your organizations wanted to be white and nobody had a problem with it. So own that. Don't play this 3-card Monte game. When you come around us, it's a person of color, but in your mind, you still clicked up with the white supremacists. A lot of that stuff happens in prisons. A lot of the Hispanic gangs in prison, they're clicked up with the Aryans and the white supremacists and the skinheads. That's very well known. Let's bring that to the table and talk facts if we're going to have a real black and brown coalition, because we can't have all of this shady stuff going on behind the damn door and then we're skinning and grinning in each other's face. If you're kicking it with white supremacists, let me know so I can just rock with you a little bit different. You feel me?
No.